YouTube, I've had the iPad for over 10 days and I feel now is the correct time to give you a review, my thoughts on the iPad and my experiences with it. So the way I'm going to lay this video out is in three parts. I'm going to go over hardware, go over software and give you my conclusions or my thoughts on the iPad as a general, and I hope you stay tuned. So when it comes to hardware, the screen on this thing is absolutely phenomenal. There's a few people who have said that they don't like the smudges on it. To be honest, for the 10 days I've had it, I've never noticed a smudge. When I'm reading stuff on it, you only notice the smudges when it's a black screen, or maybe when you're watching a film and a dark scene comes through or a night scene comes through. But rest assured, the iClear works on it a treat, and that's what I've been using, and it's not too much of an issue. Coming back onto the screen, it is just great. The screen and colours on it are vibrant. When you're reading something, it's not hard to read. When you're watching a film, it's very crisp. And I can't fault the screen on it one bit. On a similar note, some people were saying they don't like the black border around it. I think that's a bonus, simply because when you're holding it, your fingers are going to be covering the border anyway. So let's say if there was no border, you would be covering up your iPhone, so how would you hold the device? Would you be holding it like this? That is kind of stupid, straight up. Border is a very nice thing that they've done, and a sensible thing, may I add to that. The sound on this thing is absolutely insane. It is very, very clear, crisp. When you're holding it and you've got audio on, you're watching a YouTube video, you can really feel the audio on it. There is no, I'm not even going to go into the sound because it is just absolutely great. And I've never really had an audio issue with any of the Mac products that I have, simply because they put quality products in their devices and nothing less. These are the three speakers, to be exact, on the bottom of the iPad. Coming back onto sound for a few seconds, on the iPhone, when you wanted to mute or put the volume down completely on the iPhone or the iPod Touch, you would have to hold the minus button on the volume button until the audio went down, which was somewhat of a biggie if you really wanted to have a mute option there and then. Well, the iPad sort of fixes that, because you only have to hold the minus button on the volume for maybe a second, and it assumes that you want to put the volume off completely, which is a bonus. So let me show you that. So I'm going to hold it in for just 1 second, and it's gone off, as you can see from that logo. So great, these small things do definitely make the user experience more good, and Apple have aced it again. One of the other great hardware features on this is the lock button, which is very sensible, because this is one of those devices where you're going to be holding it in many different positions. And one of my main problems with the iPhone was, when I get up in the morning, I'm looking at my tweets and my iPhone screen orientation keeps on moving. It wasn't accurate. The accelerometer would keep on doing this. But now I've got a feature where I can simply lock the screen, which is great. So whichever way you have it, it's going to be sticking to one position, which again, all comes back to that user friendliness, and the iPad certainly is one of those devices. When it comes to design, the weight of the unit could have been a bit better, but it's not that much of a biggie, because I tend to find that I'm either putting it on my lap or in bed on top of me, and when I do hold it on the odd occasion, I do have both my hands, and it does feel okay when you've got both hands. But I wouldn't recommend holding it from one hand, because you will sort of feel it in your fingers and it will get kind of tiresome. Just on that note as well, this is indeed a slippery back, so you do want to get a silicone toe, a silicone case, any sort of case to protect it, because the moment you drop it, this is gone out the window, literally. It's very similar to the MacBook Pro's unibodies. In fact, I think it is identical to that. Good material, I can't fault the material, but I wish they did take into consideration the weight factor. And yeah, come the second generation of the iPad, they will have sorted that issue out, no doubt. One of the other issues that people were crying and moaning about was the camera, and within the 10 days I've had it, I've never had that feeling where I've wanted to take a picture with the iPad. It's insane. The iPhone and iPod Touch is kind of, you can argue with that, because it's the type of device you would hold in your hand for a long time, and you might want to take a picture of it because it's something very easy to take out of your pocket and take a photo. But to take this out of a sleeve and then grab this big thing and take a picture, I'm not too worried about that, to be honest. And coming back onto the whole camera issue, I did read a good article where possibilities of why Apple didn't put a camera on this, and it's because the tablet or the iPad is mainly aimed at the education market, and if this is to go into schools and universities, there would be a lot of legal issues involved in that, and I don't think many people or many teachers, many parents would be happy for students bringing this in and taking pictures of stuff they shouldn't be taking pictures of. And I think it was a sensible move, if that is one of the reasons why Apple didn't put a camera in the first gen. Number 2, software. This is the second most important thing, or if not the most important thing when it comes to tablet devices. You know what, I don't want a full-blown OS, I don't want a full operating system booting up. I want to literally, when I wake up, pick this up, one button, one hit, and I'm into my email. And on that note, email on this thing is absolutely phenomenal. And let me go into my email. The whole UI of this, it just couldn't be better. It's just so easy to the eyes. You know where your emails are coming from. It's on the one screen. You're not having to constantly go back and forth. Everything is there. And I guess that's what sort of differentiates the iPad from the iPod Touch, the iPhone, and for that matter any sort of Mac system, whether it be a MacBook Pro or iMac. Now I know some of you are going to be saying, well, the iMac and MacBook Pro are in a different league. Yeah, I agree with you. MacBook Pros are power user machines. They're not for what the iPad is designed for. The iPad is mainly designed for reading on the go, very lightweight, usage, and something that you can take out and still have some of those great features that you would on a normal laptop. And one of those features is the keyboard. So here I am on the keyboard, and on the iPhone I would be doing this and making a lot of mistakes, and probably not typing a lot, because I know if I type a lot my fingers are going to get messed up. But on the iPad it's different, because I've got a lot of real estate. And let's see if I type something in. So hello, do remember to check my website at iGlassRegion. And that is bang on. And my fingers are still not tired. It just feels more like a proper keyboard. And the UI, the accurateness of the keyboard is great. It's not messing it up. I'm not saying that the iPhone keyboard is bad, but it's not made for long emails and long typing. Whereas the iPad, you've still got your iWork suite and your word processing. So again, it's one of those things where you can take it about. It's going to become a mobile computing device, and taking this along to meetings or lectures. Imagine having your lecture notes on this iPhone, and imagine having the lectures on the iPad. You're running late for a lecture, and you're running and you get the first seat that's available in that lecture hall. You don't want to take your laptop out, and the more you do that, the more you're wasting time, the more notes you're missing out. Simply hit one button, open Word up, and start taking your notes and have your slides ready. And that is about it. And I must say, for the software that this thing has, it's absolutely crazy. One of the things I've always said and sort of agreed in is that the iPad is going to kill off printed media, and that is for none other than, check out this application. It's the Reuters application, and it's literally news in your hand. And forget the newspaper, because this thing does the job very nicely. You've got pictures, you've got video, you've got up-to-date news. Forget logging into a website or typing the actual web URL in. You've got this on your app screen or your home screen of your iPad, and all you have to do is go onto your Reuters News Pro free application, and it works an absolute treat. You've got your markets, and no doubt I know that this will sort of really crush the printed media, and I know many of these companies are worrying, and some are rightfully charging for their application. Here is another news application called the AP Associated Press, and this is one of the most, or it is quite a respected news media outlet. And again, it's all about the UI. So if I want to hit on one of these stories, it opens it up and you've got your news there. Can you, picture this being the future for, printed media? I don't know about yourself, but I can, and it is definitely going to be really, really cool. And if you're a comic fan, you've got your WWF heroes, and just look at the quality on this. This is one of the things where you don't need to zoom in, everything's right there on your face, you can read everything properly, you've got updated comics, you can buy comics, you don't have to waste space in archiving these comics. I've got magazines, Macworld magazine, just lying there from once I read it. I would rather have the Macworld magazines on the iPad. I know where all of them are stored. They're gathering dust in my room somewhere under my bed probably and taking up space. If I have all my magazines, all my publications on one device, I would prefer that. I don't know about yourself, but I would really prefer that. And just look at, this is stunning. I don't know if you can see the quality on this, and you probably won't by the time I upload this to YouTube. But to me, this is phenomenal. This is the future. I sound like Steve Jobs, eh? And to me, I think board games are sort of going to change the way in how people sort of view. Traditionally, what would happen is you would have people around and you would get the board game out or whatever it is. But the iPad is very neat. I'm surprised as to how good this actually is, and how this will be able to, have so many board games on the one device. And because of the screen, it's more friendly. Imagine having 10 people around and having a board game on this, constantly having to zoom in, very small, limited. Whereas when you've got this device, the whole family can sort of see it, pass it around, and play this game. So this is Hangman, and I'm sure you're all familiar with this. And this is a complete fail because I'm not getting any word right. And yeah, congratulations, I've got 2. But you get the point. Board games on this thing, they are slowly coming out, but surely, I think it's going to, have a great impact on not only the bookstores, the magazine stores, but the tablet is going to, definitely have a slight impact, or maybe a major impact, depending on how people view the tablet. I think it's going to, be really, really nice. Another game here called Air Hockey, and it's one of the games that I play quite a lot. And check this out. Hey, maybe because I'm playing on kiddie level. And there we go. I'm a pro at this, eh? But there you go. I mean, if you were to play that game on the iPhone, the iPod Touch, yeah, it wouldn't be that much fun in playing it because it would be too cramped. So for the 5 of you who have stayed on to watch the full thing, my views on it are fantastic. I'm very, very glad that I went with the iPad and I bought one from the US. And those of you still waiting for the iPad to be released in your country and can't wait any longer, I made a video as to how you can import one from the US as I done, and if you click here it will take you directly to that video. Everyone who's been saying, oh, it's not got flash, this and that, to be honest, I don't really care. I've never really come across any sort of flash things. As long as I've got my applications on there, as long as I've got my email, my Twitterific, the iWork suite, these various book applications, the bookstore, there's nothing better than that. One thing that I didn't really go over was the photo frame. That is also very, very nice, but the reason why I didn't go over it is because the photo frame, you really do need to have some sort of stand for it, and I did have one, but I don't know where it is. But the photo frame, again, these photo frames range from anywhere £50 to £100, and to have the photo frame on this where it's very vibrant, the screen is nice, as in all in the one package, what more do you really need? If I were to rate the iPad, it would probably be a 9 out of 10. There is no, there's no question about it. Those of you who have iMacs and are thinking of, getting this, I would recommend you get it, because this is going to be one of those devices where, if you're going out and about, lectures or business trips, you're going on holiday, this is going to become a sort of a replacement while you're out and in the field, as they say. That's my thoughts on it. Very positive. And I'm glad, again, I've said this for the 3rd time, I'm glad I got it. And yeah, you can join me on iGlassRegion.com, twitter.com/i6glassregion, if you want me to address some questions that you might have or concerns that you might have. If I've maybe forgotten to go over a specific thing, feel free to leave that down below, or contact me through my website and I'll reply to you ASAP. But thanks for tuning in. Cheers.